One day in 2019, I was deciding which games I wanted to take with me on my summer break holiday. So I was searching through all my games that I hadn't played in a couple of years for my Nintendo DS. And one game I decided to bring with me was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, Vancouver 2010. Yeah, I've played all these winter sports in the middle of a way too hot apartment and my own sweat. Lovely. If you know me by now, you already know I have a pretty big fascination for this series. And when I decided to bring the game with me, I had one clear goal in mind: to finally beat the Adventure Tour mode in this game. I can remember when I was younger, I really loved the story, but I just couldn't finish it. So I've played the game and I finally accomplished that goal to beat this adventure mode. And now that it has already been almost 1 full year since it was confirmed that the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series are being discontinued, I found it a great reason to replay the story mode for maybe the 16th time since 2019. Yeah, I beat the game 3 times on that holiday. Recently, I made a video ranking all the different Mario sports series. And I already said in that video that the story is nothing really sensational or special in this game. But for some reason, it is way better than the other stories in this series. Bowser and Dr. Eggman teams up again. But instead of just trying to win the Olympic Games, they are planning to stop them entirely. Their goal is to melt all the snow in the world, using a mystical power source, known as the Snow Spirits, in order to create a world where only they can rule and there's no competition. Realizing what's happening, Mario and Sonic decide to team up and begin traveling across several areas, like Frost Town, Ice Peak and Sparkleton, where each zone is affected by the fog. Gives me some Persona 4 traumas, but okay. Their goal is to rescue the kidnapped Snow Spirits, defeat mini-bosses like Bowser Jr., Metal Sonic, or just a huge big bullet bill, and make the world snow again, so that the Olympic Winter Games can continue. As they travel, they meet and recruit several characters from the Mario and Sonic series, like Luigi, Tails, Blaze, Knuckles, Peach, Shadow, and some more familiar faces. What I especially like about the story mode compared to the other ones in the series is that it doesn't really involve the Olympic Games itself. I mean, it's maybe a little weird when I say it like that because it's literally a game based on the Olympics, but I find the stories from London 2012, Rio 2016 and Tokyo 2020 a lot more involved with the Olympics, making it feel like you're playing essentially the base game instead of a brand new mode. It's always about earning medals, and I like that they went a little out of their comfort zone in their first story in the series. In the adventure mode, there are in total 6 different areas you need to traverse to. You have Frost Town, Ice Peak and Polar Straits, which are all part of the Winter Island. And then you have Sparkleton, Cuberynth and Blissland, which are all part of the Dream Island section of the world. I need to say, for the Nintendo DS era, I absolutely love these areas. The first area you need to explore is Frost Town. I think from how many times I've played this part of the game, I can honestly do it blindfolded. I absolutely love this area. I love the cozy vibes and I really love the minigames you can do here. Especially the one from Princess Peach, because I was always blowing or screaming so loud into the DS microphone. Oh fuck! The next area is by far my absolute favorite, Sparkleton. Back when I first saw this area, my mouth was wide open. I love this area so much aesthetic wise, and just in general the sport you can do in this area are personally some of my favorites. But the best thing about this area is this track. Oh my god, I want this in my veins. This track is such a banger and it's really nostalgic for me, because when I was a kid and was stuck in Cuberynth, I just teleported back to Sparkleton and explored there. This area is just honestly one of the most nostalgic areas in any game, and I want to live here. When you beat the boss in Sparkleton, you can explore Polar Straits. I absolutely love that you can break ice with Sonic's dash ability, so that you can proceed to different areas. I find this really creative, and we never really got these kinds of moves back in the story mode for the series. I was also a little stuck in this area when I was younger, but after some time I managed to finally collect the crystals needed for the boss and made my way to Cuberynth. Speaking of Cuberynth, the freaking maze area itself. Now that I finished the game again, I still get lost in this area. There are so many layers and so many little nooks and crannies, so exploring this area can be quite a mess. Nevertheless, I love this area. It's literal peak fiction. Speaking about peak, the 5th area is Ice Peak. And honestly, this was the area I remember the least from by far. And this is also the only area where I'm not really a big fan of. So sadly, Ice Peak isn't really that peak compared to the other areas in the game. But then you have the last area, Blitzland. And right away, the music is quite ominous and hits you with the feel, I'm going to freaking kill Bowser. This is also such a great area. I love that there are many platforms which you can traverse further into the area with. The areas in the game are definitely a high point for me. And then formerly the Dream Island areas. These areas are so damn peak, and it's kind of upsetting we never really got these kinds of unique areas again. And because of these areas, it's always so nice to revisit the game and see, for example, Sparkleton and explore it again. again. What I maybe like the most about this adventure mode of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games Vancouver 2010, jeez, what a title, is that most of the characters have a unique minigame, and by completing the minigame you will unlock a new part of the area. I found this so cool, and you really need to backtrack sometimes because, for example, you can only play the minigames in Frost Town with the characters that you unlock in Sparkleton. In each area there were characters that you could unlock by beating them in a normal sport, which was often also really fun. I really liked when you needed to do the shooting sport against Amy, because you were forced to play as Tails, who was often my main character in these games. The minigames also gave each character a little bit more personality and importance, which made the whole adventure mode feel more alive. Instead of just rushing from one sport to the next, I really enjoyed exploring, unlocking new paths and interacting with all the different characters from both the Mario and Sonic teams. But as for the real minigames, I want to give shine to some of these minigames, because some of these are so nostalgic to me, oh my god. First up, the one for Amy. This is maybe the easiest of all, but also the one I was so long stuck at when I was younger. You need to smash the hammer on Eggman, Bowser, Metal Sonic and Bowser Jr. in a specific order, and to be honest, I already forgot the order. Then you have the one for Luigi, where he needs to build up his flashlight to defeat the Boos, which is of course kind of a reference to Luigi's Mansion. And then lastly, without a doubt, maybe one of the best things that happened in any Mario game, Wario who's farting on chain jumps. Yeah, the minigames in this game are so peak. What I also really liked about the missions in this adventure mode is that there's a lot of variety. You're not just doing the same kind of event over and over. Well, most of the time. Some missions are straightforward and feel like classic Olympic challenges. For example, you might have to defeat a specific character in a one-on-one speed skating race or score a certain number of points in figure skating. I always found these challenges exciting already, especially when you're up against characters you haven't unlocked yet. But what really stood out to me were the more creative missions that required you to meet unique conditions. A great example is the snow machine fight, where you're asked to break 10 ice blocks within 1 minute. It's not about beating an opponent, it's about being quick, accurate and using your character's abilities. Then there are really simple missions, like doing a perfect starting dash in Luge, which might only take a few seconds but still feels satisfying when you nail it on your first try. The game also does a great job of tying missions into the story progression. You don't just move forward automatically. Sometimes you need to talk to certain characters, complete side tasks, or obtain specific equipment to move on. A good example is how you need 4 crystals to break through the large block of ice that's blocking the path in the story. But to earn those crystals, you often need to first complete a sport. And to even participate in that sport, you might need to find or win a piece of equipment like skis, shoes, or a freaking entire snow machine that with no doubt does not fit in this chest, by the way. I am so glad that there is mission variety in the story because it helps the adventure mode feel more like a proper game rather than just a sequence of Olympic events. Sadly, in the more recent stories, there is way less variety. Lastly, I want to talk about the music and the overall atmosphere of this story. I really think that the OSTs of the overall series are just so underrated, and in this story in particular, there are so many bangers. I of course already expressed my love for the song in Sparkleton. This banger honestly gives me so many flashbacks to younger Miyu, who was always vibing to this song and losing to Amy, which also, side note, almost happened when I replayed this story. I mean, the OST is just so nostalgic to me. I have heard the song for Frost Town like a million times, and this song gave me flashbacks to when I even couldn't beat Bowser Jr., which is literally almost impossible to not win, but I just couldn't win it from Bowser Jr. But these tracks really help bring the snowy world to life. The music perfectly matches the tone of each location. Frost Town, for example, has this cozy, peaceful vibe. It makes just walking around and talking to characters feel relaxing. On top of the music, the visual atmosphere adds even more charm, and each location has small details that make the world feel magical, but still grounded in the Olympic theme. The visuals and music together make adventure mode feel like more than just a menu of minigames. It feels like you're going on an actual journey, even outside of the events. The background music and sounds create a chill, cozy winter feeling that's honestly kind of relaxing. It's the kind of soundtrack you could listen to on its own. Perfect background music for snowy days, or just to relive the vibe of the game. Believe me, I have Sparkleton on repeat. Honestly, this story mode just means so much to me. Every winter since 2019, I come back to this game and beat it like 3 times, because I just couldn't beat it when I was younger. I absolutely love this series, and I plan to make some more videos on the series looking back at some of my favorite games, because this series has been such a huge part of my childhood. I honestly had a blast replaying this story in the middle of the summer, and I really want to take the time to 100% the story and get all the white stones and trivia and all the other collectibles. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If that's so, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. And hopefully till the next video. Bye!